Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jen Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson with another great podcast for you today, along with my business partner at Elite Online Publishing, Jen Foster.
Hey everyone, how's it going today?
Well, we hope you're having a fantastic week. We always try and bring you stuff that's going to make your life better, motivate you, educate you, and make more money if you can too, right? So today we have Brent Bowers with us, and he is a real estate expert. I want to say, how many of you would like to build an income generating machine that's going to give you passive income on autopilot like clockwork? So we've talked about different things, Airbnb, different types of ways to make this money, but we have a whole new concept, and Brent's here to share it with us. Hey, Brent.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Brent, where you come from and how you got into real estate.
So I come from a small town called Okeechobee, Florida. Our biggest producer of income are basically feeder calves. It's a ranching, dairy type service community. And how did I get started in real estate? I guess, I've always been an entrepreneur. I love selling stuff as a kid. I was part of the organization, the Junior Chamber of Commerce chapter, the JCs. They taught me how to sell things. And then it's like after the first hurricane that I can remember, 1992, with Hurricane Andrew. I almost forgot it for a second. But my grandmother let us borrow one of those wind-up radios to hear the radio forecast because the power goes out in Florida whenever hurricanes come through. And after the hurricane, we were okay. Everybody was okay. I went door to door to sell this radio because we no longer needed it. And this was as a young 7-year-old boy until the neighbors ratted me out and called my parents and told them what I was up to. Then I started the lawn service with someone else's lawnmower, and I was mowing these people's grass. And then it turned into like 50 lawn accounts by the time I graduated high school. So I always enjoyed business and making money. Came from, parents that both worked every single day out of the home. And I just knew that I just really enjoyed turning things into something, making money, doing business and selling. I got into real estate really heavily in 2007 when I got my real estate license. And then I bought my first rental property. And then 2008 happened for me. Basically ran me out of the market. I struggled pretty hard. And my wife's grandpa said, why don't you go to school? Why don't you go back to college? Because I had already been through college a little bit, decided I enjoyed owning a business and running a business and doing real estate deals more than I liked getting a degree. So I did. I wanted to go back to college. So I joined the military and did that for 8.5 years, did a couple of deployments in Afghanistan, lived in Germany for a little while, trained in Spain. And then the Army pulled me out of Afghanistan on my second deployment in 2013 and sent me to college and paid me to go to college to be an Army officer. And by this time, the first marriage kind of failed because I was always gone with the military, always training, always deployed. And that was really hard on our marriage. And ultimately it just ended. And fast forward to college years, and while the Army's paying me, I met my wife now, and we got married pretty quickly and got pregnant pretty quickly. And now there's a whole new addition to this, which is a brand new baby. And I'm on this cycle again of always deployed, always gone, always away. So for the first 1.5 of my son's life, I probably only got to see him about 3.5 months.
Wow.
And something clicked. I was like, I've got to make a change. I've got to get out of the military. I'm almost 7.5 years into it by now. And I just set a goal. I was like, I'm going to figure out a way to replace my income, to cover all my expenses every single month, whether I work or not, whether I'm on vacation or not, or whether I'm deployed to Afghanistan or wherever in the world or not. And I found that through land investing, buying vacant raw land and turning around and selling it for payments And that brought me the passive income, what we call it, mailbox money or whatever people call it. It's actually better than mailbox money. It actually goes in my bank account without me having to do anything. I just kept doing one after another. The first one was $400 a month. And I remember that actually it wasn't the first one, it was the second one. The first one was a quick cash deal that I made like $5,000 on, but that one changed my life. But the second one was really where the paradigm shift came in, like Stephen Covey talks about, because it was paying me $400 a month. And I was like, this is my truck payment. If I do this 10 more times, that's going to be $4,400 a month. And that covers all my expenses. I can get out of the military. And I did it in 9 months and put my packet in and haven't looked back since.
So walk us through, because I've done land deals myself, and I've done them where we've built townhouses and things like that, and where I was actually the owner of the land, and then I had to put it up for collateral for the bank for them to build and all that kind of stuff. So is that what you're doing? Walk us through step by step what you're doing.
Melanie, that's scary. I don't do things like that. I am in the process of doing one of those, but this has been years later. I didn't start like that. You were a wild animal if that's the first land deal that you ever did. Let me walk you through my simple elementary land deals where someone like me from Okeechobee can understand it. What I do is I pick my area, and I call it picking your playground. That was right where I was at in Fort Carson, Colorado, which my playground was El Paso County, Colorado, which is Colorado Springs and, Woodland Park area, places like that, if anybody's familiar with that. And I started mailing a list of people that I thought were motivated landowners, motivated to sell. And this list was called the tax delinquent list. I still mail this list today. It's a list of people that are behind on their tax payments. They're not paying their tax bills. So I would send a postcard out to these people, and I'll tell you exactly what it says on this postcard is, hello, my name is Brent. I'd like to buy your land at 123 Main Street. If it had an address, a lot of times the vacant raw land doesn't even have an address because no one's applied for a building permit to get an address from the United States Postal Service or whoever, the address god that provides these things. Like, you don't even have to understand that. I didn't understand it starting out. I just knew that if I can find one man's trash or one woman's trash, the second land seller was a woman, by the way, that her husband was a stockbroker and he bought it like 30 years ago. But if I could take one person's trash and turn it into someone's treasure, I could get paid the difference. So what I did was I sent out this postcard to people that I thought were motivated landowners, motivated land sellers, and my phone rang off the hook. It rang, and I had no clue what I was doing. Luckily, the first 2 land sellers I met were just amazing people, and they no longer wanted the land. The first guy was a retired CPA. He's like, Brent, I traded tax work for this many, many years ago. I've been paying the back taxes, and I just stopped a couple of years ago. He was almost to the point where he's losing it because in Colorado, they have 3 years. And then someone that's been paying those back taxes, the tax lien investor, takes that land via foreclosure. He's like, I'm about to lose it. It's yours. $285. Just give me $285.
Wow.
I was like, $285? Like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I'm being serious. So I sent him a purchase agreement for $285. And if anybody, I'll give you the postcard and the purchase agreement I use if your listeners want it. Do you want me to share that?
Sure.
Okay. So the postcard, if they go to thelandsharks.com/postcard, that's the exact postcard I've used to buy millions of dollars worth of land. Now, the purchase agreement, that's the landsharks.com/contract. I hate calling it a contract, though, because what do we think about when we have a contract? It's like, oh, I got to go to Planet Fitness and get out of this contract because they've been taking money out of my account for years. I don't even go to the gym anymore. So that's the purchase agreement that I use. It's certain psychology. Like, I'm going to agree to purchase your land. So I sent the guy a purchase agreement for $285, but I said, you got to give me some time on this. Like, I want like 30 days to figure this out because I have no clue what this land is. He told me it wasn't buildable. I didn't know why it wasn't buildable. So I drove up to that land on a Saturday, me and my wife and my newborn baby and one of my Army officer friends named Mike. And he got out of the military too, but he went the stock trading route. He's crazy. But anyhow, he's not crazy because he went into stocks. He's just crazy. So we drove up there and I'm like, this is beautiful land. It's in Palmer Lake, Colorado, looking at the Pike National Forest. And I'm like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm going to get this for $285, but I have no clue what it's worth. That's the biggest problem people have for land. I wasn't smart enough back then to go and just look on Zillow.com and Redfin.com to see what it was selling for on that street. I didn't know to do that. But I did see a real estate office at the bottom of the hill that I'd passed coming in there. And I was like, maybe they will know. So I called them, and sure enough, a sweet lady answers the phone. She's like, yep, I'm familiar with the street. I said, I'm in the process of buying it. What could we sell this thing for on the MLS? I want you to list this thing when I buy it, but I wanted to get it done now price, because $285 for me back in 2016 was diaper money. And if I spent that money, I needed to get it back, because there was one thing I was guaranteed was taxes and diapers back in that time of my life. So by the way, we're all out of diapers now, 3 kids later, no more diapers, thank God. But she said, you know, Brent, I think you could probably list it for about $10,000 and you'll get it. And I was like, my mind was blown. Here I'm about to spend $285. I'm going to invest $285 to make $10,000. Sign me up. So
but didn't you have to pay the back taxes?
Yeah.
So whatever back taxes are, you got to put that on top of whatever that was.
Yeah. You won't believe what they were. It wasn't that much. It was like $400. It was more than what I was paying for the land.
Wow.
But I didn't care about that.
But only 400. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. It was less than $1,000 for something I can make $10,000. Like a 10x return. And I'm no like finance major by any means. I'm a psychology major because it was an easy degree. The Army didn't want to send me to school very long. They're like, you got 21 months to get a 4-year degree. So I picked the easiest degree possible to be an Army officer. So remember, I'm from Okeechobee. It's like, we keep it simple out there. And I'm not bashing them. I'm proud of that. So I thanked the realtor for her time. I said, I'll call you back when I buy it. Well, I'm telling my wife and Mike in the back seat what's going on. Like, I can't believe I just got this deal worth 10 grand for $285 under contract. And my phone rings. It's that same sweet realtor. She's like, Brent, I want to make an offer. What if I bought it from you? I was like, sounds great to me. I was like, what do you offer? And she offered me $5,000. And she said, I'll close on Wednesday. And I was like, send me the agreement. Send me the contract. By the time I got home, it was sitting in my email address. I signed it for $5,000. I called the seller back. The retired CPA said, I'll take it. Can we meet on Tuesday? I'll give you the $285, because I wanted to take that deed, and he already had it notarized. I took the deed to the title company, and I got my check of $5,000 on Wednesday. And then I used that $5,000 to buy another $500 piece of property. And that's where that $400 a month one came from. But my down payment was $500 on that second property. So those are the kind of land deals I do. Now they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, but that's how I started. And I just made all these mistakes moving forward. I failed fast and I failed quick and I failed forward. None of this was like painless, but it all just kind of worked one thing after another by taking a lot of action.
I really like how you did just take the action, because a lot of people will say, I want passive income, I want to have some land, or I want to buy something and flip it, but they don't take the action to do it. And I know a lot of people who say they're real estate investors, but really they're email readers. So they read emails of all the different land that's available, but they never take action and actually do a purchase agreement. Yeah. So I love that you took the action for it. So how do you find the deals? Like, how do you just get the tax? You just go to the tax, whatever that person's called, the tax person in your county.
Yeah, I'll walk you right through that. I mean, we've added a few other things to it now, because now I have 2 acquisition managers, and I want them to have, passive income and good lives too. So we've built it a little bit. We've scaled the business, but I want to go back to that email thing. On one of my email accounts, I think I have almost 39,000 unread emails. Just one. I've got like 6 emails now, because I just keep trading them in type thing. Right. Maybe they won't find out about this one. And then people do. So I am the world's worst at reading emails. And it used to hurt my stomach, especially when I was in the military. If I didn't answer those emails, and like a lot of them were like forwards and I had to know what was going on, I would get like reprimanded. Like, it was big. So I think that's where that came from. And, email is the biggest waste of time. This is my opinion. You might not even air the show, but what are emails? It's someone else's to-do list for you. So stop reading emails, people. Not just kidding. I do try and read the important ones, but yeah, I'm really bad about reading emails because I'm trying to do income producing activities when I'm working. So how do I find the deals? So the first place is the tax delinquent list. I recommend people start there because that's probably your most motivated land sellers right there. And the ones that are out of state and behind on their taxes, even better. Like, and I want to say low hanging fruit, but really I'm not looking for someone to take advantage of. I'm looking for someone that's got a problem that I can help solve. And they know that when I was in the military, I used to say, hey, I'm an Army officer. I got, 2 babies and 1 on the way. I'm doing this for extra income. Do you mind if I make a profit on this land? I'm going to buy it and sell it. That's my plan. And once I can get them to my side of the table, like it didn't matter what I was doing with the land. If I was going to sign my contract, basically get that property under contract and sell that contract, they didn't care as long as I kind of told them the process. It's like when we go to the doctor walks right in and jabs the needle in our arm, right? No, they say, hey, I got to take a little bit of blood. You're not even going to feel it. I'm going to clean your arm and wipe it off with a little alcohol. I'm going to stick this little tiny needle, take just a little bit of blood, and then they go with it and it's not so bad. It still sucks. But if they walked in and jabbed you with a needle, like there'd be an assault charge probably on you because you're just not expecting it. Same thing with our sellers. When I'm going to basically get something under contract at a discount and sell my contract, I explain to them the process because I want them to know, like, why are these weird people on my land right now? Why is my land on Craigslist? Why is it on Facebook? Why are there signs everywhere? Why is my neighbor calling me saying, I didn't know you were selling your land? So I want them to know that process if I'm going to sign it. Sometimes I do that because I need cash. People ask me all the time, what do you choose to seller finance and what do you choose to wholesale? It depends what my bank account looks like. That's it. That's the easy answer for me. But how do I get the deals? How do I find the people to mail? You start by calling your county treasurer or your county tax collector. You want to find the person that's in charge of making sure people pay their property taxes. Now, the problem with this list is very small. You're going to mail it very quickly and you're going to run out of people. And you're going to do some deals and then you're going to be hooked like me. It's like, oh my gosh, I just did like 10 deals. Let's do some more. And then you're going to want to mail the rest of the county. And how do I do that? I go to PropStream or Priced. If anybody wants a free trial to PropStream, PropStream is a system that you can look up the land. You can draw a map or you can pick the zip code or you can pick, like you can literally, you name it, pick people out of state that have owned it for 10 years. That's my criteria in some places, by the way. And if you want a free 7-day free trial to that, that's landsharkslist.com. Use it for free. But remember, on the 7th day, they're going to charge you $99. So set a calendar reminder to cancel that thing if you're not going to keep doing this. But yeah, that's how I find the land deals, the people to mail that postcard. Go ahead, Melanie. Sorry, I talked too much.
You find the deals. So wholesaling, just in case our audience doesn't know, wholesaling, when he says assigns the contract, means you get something under contract. You have buyers in the waiting wings that are going to want the land, that you can flip it. You never even have to put the money up. You just put the money down and then you never even get, it just closes all at the same time. So my question is, a lot of people, like I remember doing my first wholesaling deal and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I learned something about wholesaling and then I realized, oh, I didn't go get the buyers first lined up so I could flip it and wholesale it. Yeah. So you've got to make sure you have those buyers. So walk us through because sometimes you get stuck holding the land. So how do you research? Like you can find this land and they're saying, yeah, you can get this. This is a good deal, but you have to really know, can you resell it? Or is it something, can you afford to have a holding period of a year, 2 years, or whatever it's going to take? I got a guy who has 3,000 acres that he's been sitting on. And every time he thinks he's going to sell it, then something switches in the economy and it's not happening again. So he's been holding for a long time.
Wow. Yeah. Buy real estate and wait, right? So basically I like to get the property, and I'll give you a story. Like my 5th or 6th land deal was from a bank. And so we had negotiated. I didn't really know what it was worth. It was 44 acres next to Schriever Air Force Base in Colorado Springs. And they wanted like buku money for it. I knew it was worth probably over $100,000. And this is like back in 2017, early 2017, but I didn't have 100,000. And I was so nervous. I offered 20,000. And it really hurt my heart to do that. I was like, man, if they accept this, I know it's a great deal, but I don't have $20,000 to buy it. Mm-hmm. So we back and forth for weeks. And finally, the banker calls me on a Friday afternoon. He goes, Brent, if you want this deal, I better get a purchase agreement today. We'll take 25,000, no less. If you don't want it, don't ever call me again. So I send them a purchase agreement for 90 days. 90 days due diligence, 90 days close, and a $10 earnest money deposit. And I don't even think I ever paid a $10 earnest money deposit. He didn't even question it because they didn't care about the earnest money deposit. They wanted to get the thing off their books because, and this, don't correct me if I'm wrong, I think for every bad dollar they had on the books, they had to have $3 more. So if you have $1 million worth of bad debt, you got that $3 million in reserves to cover it. So they're like, get this off my books. So that Friday night, I didn't sleep that night. I was tossing and turning, not good, because I was like, I don't have 25 grand. They're going to sue me if I don't close on this deal. What do? I was just getting started. I had like maybe 5 grand in the bank from those couple land deals I did. But I had $400 a month coming in, right? That's not helping me. And I went out, and I remember one of my first mentors, Tom Kroll with Wholesaling Inc. And I am a Wholesaling Inc. coach now. I'm with Wholesaling Inc. I'm really proud of that. But I remember him saying that if you have a deal and you don't have the buyers ahead of time, go out there and put 33 bandit signs. So I went and got a big sheet of corrugated plastic from the local sign shop. I gave the guy $20 and I cut these things with a razor blade knife. I've got one right here. I still use it today. Not this one. This is a brand new one, by the way, because I lost the last 4 of them. But I cut it up in small squares and I got like 30 something out of it. And I wrote on there, 44 acres, 38K, phone number. I had it under contract for 25,000. I was going to sell it for 38,000. And I went out there and put these things up. I've gotten my wife's Honda Civic and drove all over the place. And what I did was I focused on stop signs, roadways, intersections, anywhere people could stop and take a picture of my phone number or dial it. First call I got, get this sign off my land. I'll call the police. Okay. I just thanked him for his time and hung up. Second call, I'm bracing for impact. I think I'm like 25 signs in. And I'm like maybe 2 hours into the process. And I was like jamming out to AC/DC or something like that. So it was a fun time. It was on a Saturday, sunny day in Colorado. And it was a sweet Texan man. I believe he was from Houston. He goes, where are you? Because I'm driving and I'm seeing these signs pop up that were not here a couple hours ago. Me and my wife sold our ranch in Texas and we're looking for a place to put our cattle. And this seems perfect. Can we meet? And I was like, yeah, here's the address of the property. We didn't actually step foot on the property. We're on the road. There was no gate to even get into. It was all fenced off. And we shook hands right there on the 38,000. We agreed to the price. So I didn't have a buyer's list. I had no clue how, like, I didn't have 25 grand. I'm on date. Well, technically not even 24 hours into my contract, but I went out there and took action. I also put it on Craigslist. I also put it on Facebook. I was like blowing up the world because I had to build a cash buyer's list. Now it's like 11,000 in Colorado. By the way, we've got 11,000 buyers, but we shook hands and then I had to go to the field on Sunday night. And then my phone rang. It was a guy offering way higher than what I had put out on the side of the road because people were still calling these signs like crazy. Offered me $14,000 higher price than the 38,000. And I was at a crossroads. I mean, 14,000 more plus what I was going to make at $13,000. So from 25 to 38, what is that? 26, 27, 28. So 13 grand plus another 14,000. I was like thinking, like doing the math. I was like, this is like $27,000, you know, after some fees, like $26,000 in my pocket. I only made like 40 grand a year back then, working 60-hour weeks minimum. So I called this Texan. I said, I know we had a deal. I know we shook hands, but I just got a higher offer. And he was like, we had a deal. I was like, let me talk. And I was like, I will split $14,000 with you. I'll give you $7,000 just for meeting me on the side of the road if you walk away from this deal. He said, no, I want the land. And the hardest thing I ever did, I said, okay, let's do it. I'll keep my word. And that was the best thing I ever could have done. And that little bit of money now is just so minuscule, but they just keep going and going and going. It takes a lot of work to do this, but now we've turned it into passive income.
So now walk us through real quick doing the passive income. So someone wants to buy the land and you're going to do a land, what's called really like a land contract with them. You're going to play the bank.
Yeah.
Is there issues with that if they want to develop the land? You know, like if they're going to build townhomes or something on it, you know, and they have a land contract with you. So walk us through some of that, how you do your scenario for the seller financing.
No issue at all, because they'll get a bank loan and the bank pays me off because they don't want some junior lien. They want to be in the first position. They want to have all the power. Another one of my land buyers, I bought a piece of land for $75,000 and I sold it for $159,000. And then I got a down payment to pretty much get me out of the deal, and it's funny how it worked out. Actually, I bought it for $75,000. He wanted 30 grand down to buy a camper. So I didn't have 30 grand. Like, you're noticing a trend right here. I didn't have the money. And this was another deal in 2000, probably mid 2017. We bought the land and I went to USAA and got a $30,000 loan at 14% interest.
Yes.
But what I did was I rented out the pasture land. I rented out to some RVs, and that covered the payment to USAA, as well as almost all the payment to the landowner that sold me the land for $75,000, because he held a mortgage for $45,000 at 0% interest.
Mm-hmm.
And every single month it went down $400 a month. And I held it for about almost 2 years. And then I found a buyer for $159,000 that gave me a big down payment. And the seller continued to hold the mortgage for me. Crazy thing, right? And my buyer that purchased from me for $159,000 on a 30-year mortgage at 6% interest actually just passed away a couple of weeks ago. So we ended up paying the first seller off that sold it to me, because I wholesaled some land. I paid him off. And now there's a note due to me for about 130 something thousand. His family has already got it on the market. It's about to sell for 300. So I'm about to get about 100 and something thousand cash. So that's one example where I paid off. The one that you had mentioned, Melanie, like, I had purchased a piece of land for $3,000 and I sold it for $20,000. The buyers have been paying for almost 3 years. They want to build a cabin now. So the bank has approved them for a loan if they pay me off, and it's like 16,000 left or something, or it's like, actually it's less than that. It's like 13,000 less. And I'm going to get a $13,000 check. They're going to get a construction loan and build their cabin. So it's not a big deal. People are like, you're crazy to seller finance your land for 30 years, but most of the time it doesn't go that long, you know, and the first 5 to 7 years is pretty much interest only. So it adds to it's like the icing on top of the cake.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that was great. Jen, do you have any other questions?
No, I could listen to you all day. I love all these stories, and we could just go on and on. Well, tell people where they can go to find you, get more information, and they can go get a couple of your freebies that you already mentioned.
Heck yeah. I do a YouTube video Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. If you just go to YouTube, Brent Bowers, please subscribe to the channel. That's like my tip. Lets me know I'm on the right track making those videos. And I teach people how to do this. It's called the Land Sharks through Wholesaling Inc. Go to wholesalinginc.com/land if you want to join the community. We have a bunch of people doing way bigger land deals than what I just talked about.
Awesome. We'll put that link up in the show notes as well as on the YouTube description.
Yeah.
Thanks you so much.
Brent. Great having you today.
My pleasure.
Well, remember, if you're looking to write a book and becoming a #1 best-selling author, we guarantee it with all of our authors. Reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com and fill out our submission form. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.